Hello there YouTube, my name is Truggy, and today I'm bringing you something a little bit different. I expect at this point in the video I'd normally be talking about playing Conquest on a Battlefield 3 map or something. Today I'm bringing you part 1 of a little series I'm calling Game Dev Story. For the newer subscribers, etc. among you, essentially I had the idea of putting together a little series on what goes into game development. Now, I'm a third-year computer science student. Again, this is for the benefit of the newer viewers and subscribers among you. I'm a third-year computer science student, and as it does so happen, my final year project, my sort of big sort of party piece to show off what I've learned, as the tombola sort of rolled, or whatever the dice rolled, I got game development on the full brief is study of the study of classic computers or retro computers and the production of an iOS, iPhone/iPad game. That was basically the brief, the title, and that's what I'm going to be talking about essentially. The sort of steps from starting to hopefully having a finished running game at the end, which who knows, maybe even I'll put on the App Store or something if I deem it worthy. We'll see. Anyway, I initially proposed this idea of putting together this little series a way back, and certainly a lot of you sort of said, "Yeah, I'd love to see that kind of thing." So here we go. This is going to be kind of the dull stuff, the planning, the research kind of thing. You're not going to see any running game. Well, actually, no, you will see a running game today, but this is going to be sort of the initial dull stuff, and also a little bit of an explanation of perhaps a few technical things we'll see. So one thing I should say off the bat is obviously, programming computers and working them, etc. Is not, it's fairly technical, and I'm going to try and avoid the technical language where possible. But if it's still too technical for you, leave a comment, say so. If you'd like a little more detail, again, leave a comment, and I'm more than happy to go into a little more detail. So if it seems a little, above your head, don't worry. And if you sort of, experienced programmer say, and you're looking at me going, "You fool, you're using all the wrong terms," hopefully that explains why I'm going to try and aim at a little bit of everyone. Right, so my game, what is it going to be? Well, that is the question. Obviously, before I started my project, I needed to know what was out there in the 1980s. I wasn't even born. My first contact with games was, it was Sonic. I think it was Sonic 2 on the Sega. I'm going to get this wrong. Genesis? A long time ago. I think I was maybe 5. That was the first game I ever played, and from there I actually went onto the Game Boy. But it's that style of game, 8-bit style games, which I'll be looking at producing. The likes of, your Battlefield, your Call of Duties, those are made by teams of 200 or more people, and they have 2 years. I've got, 6 months and me. So in terms of what I can actually produce in that time, I have to be more realistic. So I'm looking at retro game, and as it so happens, I need to go and look at and make a retro game. So I spent a few days, and this was really boring, tedious work playing games. Terrible, terrible task. And after going through a couple of fan sites and whatnot, I came across the game which I wanted to reproduce, and this is it. This is The Great Escape, a game based on the film, and essentially the objective is to escape a prison. Let me just show you this a little bit. So I just need to quickly configure my keys. Lovely. So the objective is just like the film. You need to escape this prisoner of war camp by any means, really. And to make things slightly more complicated, there are guards and such, obviously, which you obviously need to avoid. And there's a schedule which you must stick to. So, for example, there's a roll call, there's breakfast, that kind of thing. And you can't be missing from those. The guards will look for you. And to escape, obviously, you're going to need a few tools to do that. Look at that, perfect timing. The Red Cross parcel, for example, will contain a few bits and bobs. I think, for example, at one point it contains a compass to help you dig a tunnel, that kind of thing. So I was attracted to this because, I haven't seen an escape game at all. This sort of genre of escaping from somewhere I've never really seen before, and I quite like the idea of it. The fact that it's quite a little cute little game, and the fact it's classically, quintessentially retro helps as well. For example, here's the roll call, for example, I was just talking about. So that's what I wanted to try and produce, and or what I'm trying to aim for. And essentially, my game is going to be a modern version of this. It's going to be isometric, sort of this like top-down kind of view. It's going to be sprite-based, so these kind of like characters, no 3D characters. And I'm going to try and implement all the functionality of this game in terms of guards and routines and that kind of thing, and add to it. Now, what I initially thought about doing was doing something rather Minecraft-esque, where like the prison would be randomly generated and all this kind of stuff. That quickly went out the window when I started to do more of the work. However, what I do plan to try and do is, as in the elements which you come across to try and help you escape, I'm going to try and randomly generate those. So it's a little bit different each time you play. So hopefully, that's what I want to try and make. So this is the basis. This is my research side of things done. How do you make a game then? Right. Well, I'll close this first of all. So it stopped hogging. Well, it's hardly hogging resources. Anyway. How do you make a game? Well, this is where the technical part kind of starts. So I'll try and keep things fairly simple. Essentially, all things computer in terms of programs and things that you use are written in a programming language. Much like people speak English, French, German to talk to each other. Computer programs are often written in different languages. You have a couple of main ones. C++ is used a lot, for example. I personally am a massive fan of Java. iOS-based programs and games and things like that are written in a language called Objective-C. Now, it just so happens that that's a language that I don't know. So I've had to teach myself, or start to teach myself, Objective-C at the same time as trying to do all this kind of stuff. And well, I've got basically Hello World done. So as computer programs go, there's kind of a tradition that the first thing that you write in any new language or anything like that is Hello World, basically saying, look, I've written something, it works. And essentially this is what this little application does. Now you might look at it and go, what the heck is all this? This is pure Objective-C programming code. I won't talk through the syntax, the rules of the language, but this is what program codes look like. And this program itself, this is Xcode, is called an IDE, an integrated development environment. Basically, think of it as like a word processor. If you're writing a letter or something like that, that is what an IDE does for a programmer. It's somewhere where you write your program code and it does some fancy stuff. So, for example, we have some defining of things here. We have some what's called, I call them methods or functions. So things happen and things like that. Anyway, all this comes together when it's built together into a little application. And this was the first application that I put together. Very simple, don't expect anything glorious, but after 4 weeks, this is what I could get to. Hello World, isn't that lovely? This is the iOS simulator, and this is what you use to test your applications as you're developing them. You can also develop on the device as well once you register them. And essentially, the purpose of this program is to basically enter your name in this box, hit this little button, and Hello World will change. So we tap in a little box, the keyboard comes up, we type our name here. Note how sort of you'll be familiar, obviously, if you use like an iPhone or an iPod Touch or an iPad, obviously the keyboard and everything will be the same. You hit done, you hit enter. Magical, isn't that wonderful? Very simple, but this was Genesis for me. This is first time that I had to use not only the new syntax, the new rules, the way you have to write the language, but the way that you have to construct things. This was a good achievement for me, and this was, I think, 1 day's work, following while doing a few days sort of reading up and things. So that is Objective-C, and if you want me to go more into the language, more than happy to. And essentially, that is where I am. What I've been doing as of late is I've been doing a little more research, a little more finding out what people like, and a little more research in terms of how I'm actually physically going to build this game up. Now, much like a building is built from the foundations, it kind of has like a plan and, I don't know, has a set of rules it has to follow and tools you can use. Games and other programs tend to have something similar, a foundation and things like that. Now, what games tend to have is very specialized things called game engines. Now, these game engine things you will have used numerous times, and you just kind of go, okay, it's there in the background, I know of it. For example, the Unreal Engine, the Gamebryo, the engine which runs like the Fallout games and Skyrim. I think it's the idTech engine which runs the Call of Duty games, or a very advanced version of it. Obviously, Frostbite and Frostbite 2 for the Battlefield games. These engines are basically like massive, a massive toolbox of little functions and things you can use to help your game progress better. And essentially, I initially, again, I wanted to try and write my own little game engine because I thought it'd be simpler. No. Again, as research proved, just doing isometric projection, the drawing of things at angles, that's quite a complex thing to get your head round. More to the point, get my head round. Anyway, so I'm going to use a game engine called Cocos 2D. It's a game engine which, well, quite a few games have used on the iOS platform, and essentially, probably in the next video, I'm hoping to have something running on it, isometric, and it'll look all pretty, which is great. Now, as I was saying kind of before, I'm currently doing a little more research and doing sort of a little feel for what people like in terms of their games. Obviously, I've got my impressions of what people like to see, but obviously that might not be everyone's cup of tea. Ooh, pardon me. So, what I've done is I've put together a little mobile phone gaming survey, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link of it down in the description. If you could spend 5 minutes just to answer, I think it's 10 questions, there you go, 10 questions, it would help massively. Just so I have an idea of what kind of things gamers look for when they play games. Now, if you don't play any phone games, that's fine. Just answer as if you're, say, a console or a PC game or something like that. This is purely so I can get kind of an insight into what people look for and what I need to focus on to write about, because I have to evaluate my project at the end, and while evaluating a program's kind of difficult. If it works, it's kind of there. If I aim for things, well, I have objectives I can meet. So the URL and will be in the description. I'll probably put an annotation on screen now. If you could spend a few minutes and just fill it in, that'd be a great help. Anyway, guys, I think that pretty much wraps up Game Dev Story Video 1. Sorry, this has been a little bit all over the place, but this is, well, something a little bit different. But hopefully this will have opened a little bit of insight to you of what I'll be doing, and, well, probably the next video will be a lot more interesting. So, guys, thank you very much for watching. As always, if you could always... oh, dear. It's early in the morning. Well, 10 o'clock, what am I saying? If you could leave a thumbs up, thumbs down what you think of the video, that would be great. I'll be honest, I don't expect a lot of views and things off this. It's not gameplay, so that's fair enough. If you want to, see anything in particular, if you want, like, for example, the more technical detail or anything like that, please do leave a comment. And if you want to see more Game Dev Story or just gameplays in general, you can always subscribe. So, guys, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you'll find this interesting, and, well, I'll see you out on the development platform. I don't know. See you guys.